right, guys, we got the spherical bushings in for the rear end. So I went ahead yesterday and went ahead and installed the rear end, put the bushings in, got the rear end installed, and I'm at the point now where I'm gonna do the anti-roll bars. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of show you guys how to do that, and just kind of the way I've always set them up. I've done 3 or 4 of them, and this is always the way I've kind of done it, and just kind of wanted to show you guys. But yeah, I'll just go over the suspension just a little bit before we do the anti-roll bar. So pretty much we got everything, well, pretty close, not totally squared up. This is like a preliminary type of thing where I made sure that, you know, all my control arms are the exact same length, by measured from the center of the bolt over to the bushing on both sides, and got that pretty squared up. And everything looks really good as far as, you know, the rear end being centered and all that. You can kind of see, you know, just kind of visually, you do it kind of visually first before we go and do like precise measurements. I'll do that in a later video. I know Dave at Team Z has a little video out on how to do a plumb bob and how to square up the rear end, you know, off of that. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing. So, but that'll be a later video. This is just to kind of get the thing close right now. So, and then the uppers too, we did the same thing, measured from, I always put like a little mark on the center. You know, I use a pair of like calipers, and I'll find the center of the bolt, and I like to put a mark on it. So this way I can, when I measure, I can go and right off the center of the bolt there and over there too. So we got these the same length. I had to lengthen this one flat and shorten this one flat in order to get the housing. Now, I don't know if this is, like I said, I don't know if this is gonna be where it's gonna end up in the end, but I wanted to get it visually right. Okay, so if you look here, you can see that this sits right inside the fender, okay? And on this side, same thing. Fits right inside the fender. So originally this one stuck out a little bit. It was out to about right here, okay? And this side was in a little bit. So like one flat on each side brought it right into center. So, you know, like I said, this is just for right now visually. I may end up having to go back another, I don't know, half a flat or whatever, I don't know, but we'll get to that point when we start doing like final measurements. So, but at this point, now that I've got everything really close, it's not a problem to go ahead and put in the anti-roll bar. Now, if I was like really far off, you wouldn't want to do your anti-roll, okay? Because, you know, once you put this and you weld it, if your housing is left or right, you know, this would move. Otherwise, you know, you want this to be plumb. So if you have to move your housing after you do this, you know, it's gonna move. So like I said, I've got it really close. So even if it did have to move a little bit, it wouldn't be a big deal. So I went ahead and set these up how I normally do, to where this is gonna be right near the center of the housing of this, you know, this tube. And I got just a slight angled down on the top of the anti-roll. Not much. I don't like them like way up here, okay? Because I mean, if you see how close that is to the floor, the trunk of the floor, I mean, see how you can easily hit that? So I angle it down just a little bit. So this is gonna give you tons of range of motion here, okay? You just don't wanna be too short and you don't wanna be too long. So that's where I'm gonna end up doing it. This ended up being like, if you guys are doing it at home, roughly from the center of the bolt to the center of the bolt, about 6.5 on both sides. So it's pretty much where I ended up, 6.5 on both sides, center of the bolt to the center of the bolt. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack these in, and then I'm gonna remove the bolts, because remember, these are nylocks. So if you try to weld it with it on there, you'll melt the nylock. So I'm just gonna tack take those off, fully weld it, and yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, I know that if you guys are doing this with a regular Team Z anti-roll, it's going to be different for you. You know, the angle of the bar may not be different, but you're going to be mounting it up into, see, because mine bolts to the upper torque box here. So yours is going to be on this flat. You know, you have to weld it to that first. But this doesn't change, you know, as far as that goes. You want to get that just a little angle down. So this way you have plenty of motion down and plenty of motion up. We got it pretty close to 90 degrees on this bar here. That's what you want. You want that straight up and down. And I just usually kind of eyeball where this is going to go as far as on the tube. You know, I don't think it's that critical to be perfectly on the center line of the tube, as long as they're the same. Okay, as long as they're the same. Now, you don't want this to be mounted down below. If you want to err on any side, you want to err on the top side. Okay, and the reason being is because if you get down in here, you know, you could have an issue with binding. You know, if your suspension gets extended all the way, you could end up binding on this bar, possibly. Maybe not, but it's not that big of a deal, as like I said, as long as they're in the same spot. So that's how I've always done it, and it's worked really good for me. The main thing is just to get this straight, and you want both your links, your end links, to be the same length too. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack that in, and yeah, move to the other side. Okay guys, we got them both tacked in, and the way I do it to make sure that the tabs are in the same spot here as they are here is use this angle finder here. It's very, very useful. If you go up underneath, there's a flat spot there, okay, and you'll find, okay, we got 8 degrees there, and let's come over here. And it's 8.2, 8.3. This one was like 8.1, so 8.2, 8.3. So once you do that, you know that angle, it's got to be in the exact same spot on the other side of the housing. Otherwise the angle will be different because it's a radius. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take off the links and start welding it all up, and just finish it up, and yeah, we'll be done with this. An anti-roll bar is actually a really easy thing to do, pretty much common sense. So. Okay, so we got it all welded up. I did pretty good on this. Like I've said in my last video, I'm better at steel and chromoly and stuff like that than I am aluminum. Way better. So yeah, I got all that all done on both sides. You don't need to weld the inside, just the outsides. That's really strong that way. So all right, let me get out from under the car and we'll kind of finish this video. All right, so we got that all finished. Yeah, so guys, everything looks really good. I mean, look at the way this thing sits. So I ended up actually cutting, okay, so originally I cut one coil off the stock 4-cylinder springs on the white car, okay? And that got it to sit pretty good, but I went ahead and cut off another half a coil before I put the springs in here. And the reason is because the entire car is about 400 pounds lighter. Okay, so it made it sit just absolutely perfect, as you can see. Hopefully that stays that way. I have a few things I have left to put in the trunk, you know, with the fuel cell and all that, and you know, once you have fuel in it and all that, and the nitrous bottle. So hopefully we don't have any rubbing issues. I mean, I think the best thing to do is get it as low as possible, because now it can't hurt going as low as you possibly can, because I can adjust the uppers up a little bit if they're angled too far down. So, but yeah, everything looks really nice. So yeah, and anyway, and like maybe in a future video when we go and set up, you know, and do all the measurements and everything and get the suspension set up right, we'll go over like how to set up the anti-roll bar too. That's pretty simple. You just kind of load the right rear tire a little bit, usually like a flat and a half of preload on that, you know, because that's just how most cars are. They when they launch, they want to go like that. So your right rear is usually going to go down. So if you can help it a little bit by, you know, preloading that side. But you know, I've done it in the white car. I did it kind of neutral, and it was fine too. So, but anyway, we'll go over that in another video. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you guys learned something. Anti-roll bars are really easy to do. I recommend doing it yourself. Try it yourself. Don't pay somebody to do it if you have a welder, even a MIG welder. This is the first one I've TIG welded. Most of the other ones I've had, I've always MIG welded. So anyway, check y'all later.